What is going on, guys? I think we are live. I'll let you join into the stream, let people kind of be joining in. We're going to do the draft in a second. I think first we're going to go over some of the news that happened like recently. I don't know. You guys can ask questions. We got the torn ACL from Tim Patrick. We've got obviously the Deshaun Watson news. We've got Van Jefferson. Looks like he's going to start the season a little bit banged up. So a few different things have happened. I don't know. I figured we just like scroll through, just really quickly go over like kind of the latest news that's been happening. I don't think I missed anything. I haven't looked in the last like hour, but hey, if someone saw something in the last hour, let me know what happened. Usual check. Can you hear me normal? Is there like any little stuff going on in the sound or anything? I think it looks good on the screen, but let me know if anything is bad. But yeah, obviously we see Tim Patrick today. Don't draft him. He tore his ACL. He's done for the season. I updated the rankings for it, but there weren't any like huge changes. It gives a little bit of a boost to Jerry Jeudy, a little bit of a boost to Cortland Sutton, a little bit of a boost basically to everyone to Alberto. But at the end of the day, what I kind of did was like I gave a little bit of production to like these ancillary weapons that I don't think are going to be very good because I think they're going to sign someone. So I don't think they're going to go into the year. Like I didn't just give it all basically to Hamler. I think they're going to like bring someone in to where everyone's role boosts a little bit because whoever they bring in is not going to be as good as Tim Patrick. But that's where the production will go whenever it comes in. So I don't want to give everyone too much. So there's that. I adjusted for the Watson news. Basically, I put the projections out assuming that he's going to have the 6-game suspension. I do think the league's going to appeal. I have no idea what's going to happen after that. Again, we just never know with this stuff. But yeah, the rankings right now assume the 6-game suspension. And then Van Jefferson. I just think Allen Robinson at this point is just going to like shred this season. So he's been going way up in the rankings recently. But yeah, those are kind of the biggest bits of news. I'll scroll through and just go to my Twitter and kind of see the things that like got retweeted. Oh, Dobbins, I guess that's another thing. Dobbins looks like he's ahead of Gus. I'm actually going to talk about that. Ooh, maybe even tomorrow. I think tomorrow's video. But yeah, so that's a positive. Looks like Dobbins going to be good to go early in the season. Sky Moore got injured a little bit, but came back to practice. He tweeted out or whatever that was on. He said he's okay. Then the one we're watching right now is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook left practice with like a hand injury. We have no idea at this point how bad that is, but I'm sure we'll find out pretty quickly. Other than that, I think we're good. I think Zamir White has returned to practice. That's good. That was something that we were kind of waiting on. But I think that's kind of like the latest news. If you guys have any other questions, anything else that you think happened, let me know. All right, here goes the link. Paste it in. Whoever wants to go. How do I feel about? And then nothing. We're gonna need more. Yes, you can draft with me. The link has been posted. 114 people in here right now. Only 19 likes. Let's get that higher. Let's get that to like 40. Let's double it. Let's get to 40 likes here. Looks like we're gonna fill basically instantly. All right, we are filled. Beautiful. I don't want 7, 8, 9. We got 2. Nice. I've gotten 7, 8, 9 in an egregious amount of drafts. Also, the puppy is open. You guys should be joining into that. Let me pull up. Is that one's still going? Oh, I think I'm actually on the clock too. When we kind of do this draft here, I can maybe show you 2 other ones. The puppy is open. It opened yesterday. It is nearly 20% filled. So if you want to join this thing, get in. I always recommend the 8-hour picks. Literally go in there. If you want to join like 4 of them and just get on the clock and like 4 drafts, maybe you could do like 1 in the morning, 1 at night, stuff like that, kind of space them out a little bit. But join them, have them kind of rolling through. That's what I do. And then if you just go to your active, like I'm on the clock in 2 of these drafts right now. So maybe during this video, we'll go into there, or maybe we'll make my picks in those. But we're going to get a really solid running back at 2 here. Probably going to end up being McCaffrey. McCaffrey's ADP keeps going up to where it's like firmly 2. Early in the summer, it was Kupp that was 2, and everything was like it was Kupp and it was McCaffrey, like kind of with that excuse me, with that like 3 ADP, it's like very clearly McCaffrey at this point. People are kind of really hopping on board. So no real decision there. We have the option at the next round to go with like triple RB start, the build that I like the most, the triple RB start, and then a million, just like get your quarterbacks, get your tight ends, get your wide receivers, throw one more running back on at like the very end of the draft, call it a day. You've got great ones. You only need 4. But we'll see what happens. Maybe it turns out that we don't get the running backs we want at that spot. Maybe someone really good at wide receiver falls to us. We can do whatever we want. We go with hero RB. We could go with like the double hero RB. We'll see what ends up happening. I'll pull this up and I'll see if there's anything in the chat. Any questions right now? Good time to ask something. I don't think. Yeah, do a puppy. If you guys don't get into these, do a puppy at the same time. You're going to kind of go through the same time. You can have yours on the screen as well. That's what I would suggest. Do you see Schultz rising at all with the recent injuries? Oh, yeah, that was another one I didn't bring up. So James Washington, I believe, fractured his foot out at least a few months. It's kind of difficult to know right away how long he's going to be out, but he's going to miss some time. And so you've got no more Amari Cooper. You've got no more Cedric Wilson. You've got Gallup returning late, or not late in the season, but like not to start the season. You've got James Washington not starting the season. So your wide receiver core is like CeeDee Lamb, it's Noah Brown, and it's Tolbert. Not fantastic. So yeah, I think it could help Schultz. My issue is I don't want to give Schultz any more because he's already so high in the rankings. Like not necessarily positionally, but like in the overall rankings, I feel like I have Schultz ranked pretty high. And I really don't want James Washington being hurt to make everyone grab Schultz. Because at some point in the season, Washington will return, Gallup will return, and Schultz will kind of have that lesser role. I just think I like where I have him. And so I just gave the extra work from Washington, which wasn't even that much work. I just gave that to some like wide receivers and stuff. I didn't put it on to Schultz because I don't want 80% of people drafting Schultz. And I feel like if I give him more work, he's going to really climb. And it's like, I don't know. You guys know my strategy. I really like the top 5 tight ends with a particular emphasis on Kelsey, Andrews, Pitts, and Waller. I would say that I get Kittle less. But the top 5, after that, you need to be at a pretty significant value. I'm just going to wait a while. So I'm not someone who loves drafting Hawkinson, Schultz, all of them. And again, adding this in would probably create that. So Kelsey goes at 17. That's a really nice value for whoever ended up getting him. Andrew's still on the board. Let's see what our options are. So Andrew's on the board. Debo on the board. Mike Evans on the board. Kamara and Chubb. 1, 2, 3. All right. So we're going to get one of them. I would definitely take Andrews. I would consider Kamara here because it's like a pretty sweet build to be able to start off with like 2 players who realistically, like if you didn't think Kamara was being suspended, like Kamara's probably a first round pick and there's a really good chance that he's not going to be suspended this season, that they're going to like push the suspension out. So yeah, I think that's a good spot for Kamara there, but that would have been a really nice start. Would definitely want Debo here. And I'm actually very much hoping that I can get him because I do see a drop off and that would stink because I think everyone who went a little bit of a drop off into my pick, which would be a little bit unfortunate, already have a wide receiver in Cooper Kupp. So there's a chance they go with Chubb. Nice. They went with Chubb. Beautiful. Okay. So I don't even think this is a decision. We're going with Debo Samuel. Tweet came out. Someone asked Debo about not wanting as many carries this season. He basically was like, that's made up. Like, I don't even know where the report came out. I thought it was like a reputable source that had been like saying it. I thought it came from multiple places and everyone just kind of took it and like ran with it. But apparently Debo did not say that. Now he could have like said something close and people were like extrapolating out and be like, oh, he doesn't want it at all. Maybe someone took with like when he was like, oh, I want, to have a really long career and like I don't want to be like force fed into mean he doesn't want the ball. I don't know what happened. But he's basically saying he's getting the carries. He's going to still get the carries this season. So I bumped the projection up to a little bit less than last season. I didn't make him as, like he's not going to score 1 billion touchdowns like he did last year. But I gave him a good amount of carries, efficient with those carries, going to score touchdowns. And that boosts him back up to like a really nice pick where we just got him. So I should have been paying attention more. Tyreek Hill's a great pick. Great pick there. Running backs, no. we're definitely not considering running back at this spot. Tight end, be a little bit too early, so we're not going there. Quarterback, no. So we're just taking our top wide receiver. And I think that is, I think that's Tyreek Hill. So our team, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill. We have an absolutely insane weekly ceiling. This is, obviously McCaffrey has like a 35-point ceiling, but you saw the ceiling Deebo had last season. We all know Tyreek Hill can have 2 60-yard touchdowns in a game. So I really, really like the weekly ceiling we have here. And I really like getting both of our wide receivers at, 4 and 5 spots of value. Value is very important, especially early in the draft. And so I love the start of this team. So we'll pull this back up. We'll see what happens after this. My general thought is I'm not going to reach for running back, but it's possible we get a pretty sweet deal at someone at 47 and 50. So maybe we can get one there. But I'm totally comfortable still attacking. Like if a tight end falls to us or if like there's really good wide receivers, I'm cool just keeping McCaffrey and waiting till like the very end of the draft and getting a bunch of like pass catchers, a bunch of handcuffs. Like that is a fine way to build. So we'll see what happens with that one. Questions again. Can you go over Jonathan Taylor versus McCaffrey in a PPR league? You're the first pick. It is tough. So is this my PPR rankings? I do still have like a 15-point gap in full PPR going with Jonathan Taylor. And like, I do think Jonathan Taylor is the safer pick. And I think if I was on the clock first overall in a full PPR league, I would still take Taylor. But I completely understand the argument for McCaffrey. I think watch the video tomorrow if you want another take on McCaffrey. Basically going over all the players who kind of dudded last season and saying, can they bounce back this year? Or do I think they're kind of like, being drafted a little bit too early? And McCaffrey's obviously one we have to talk about. But I think he's a really, really solid pick. I genuinely do think that like he's going to go right back to being amazing. And I said in the video, like, basically, would you rather have 12 games of McCaffrey or 17 games of like most other players? The problem is in that most of the players, like I think I'd still rather 17 games of Jonathan Taylor. So I still think you're going to Taylor. I know there's a huge gap in the receptions, but it's not like the offense is also much better for Indy. And while they're going to throw a lot to Hines, they're just going to throw a lot more, have a higher pass rate to running backs this season in general. So I don't think that Hines being there means that Taylor can't get targets. And he's just so safe. You just know every week he's getting you so many points. So I would go with Taylor in all formats, but I get it. And you're not going to lose your league because of that decision. Like over time, I guess, because either one of them can get hurt and that could technically be why you lose. But if you simulated the season out, a million times, flipping that decision on average is not going to be what changes your chance of winning the championship. It's going to be later on. They're both great picks. So really just take the one you like a little bit more. Get Austin Eckler? No. How come on one has standard, saying how come no one has standard rankings? Well, we have standard rankings on the website. Wondering why Swift is going so high? Well, because I think a lot of people are using the rankings and I have Swift ranked pretty highly. I haven't decided my final take on Deandre Swift. Like I do love him. I do still think that the team is not going to completely feature him. I think that's like a relatively unlikely outcome, that they're still going to use Jamal Williams on some early downs. I just think he's a really, really solid pick where he goes. I don't love taking him this early because ADP-wise, he does typically still go in this range. And I would just rather take Dalvin Cook, take Najee Harris at this spot, hope that, the same kind of deal happens. That's pretty early for Saquon Barkley. But just hope I can get him in round 2. In round 1, he needs to have a really, really good season. So, I would still chance it because most sites his ADP is still the second round. So I wouldn't do that. Where are you taking Kamara? I think where he went is a good spot for right now. I think I genuinely don't think he's going to get suspended this season. So the new court date is late September, something like that. So still a possibility that, because they want to see that play out and then they're going to do the suspension. It's pretty unlikely they just drop a suspension before that's played out. So we're going to see the court date happen unless it's pushed even further. I just think that if there's even a chance that he's not suspended, getting him here is such a steal. And then if he is suspended, you're not taking him with your first round pick. Like, this team still has Justin Jefferson, still has Michael Pittman, still has a really solid player here, to where you're not just like tanking your roster. The one question is, does he get suspended to end the year? That would stink. Like, if the whole court thing, plays out, and I'm on the clock in a second, but if the whole court thing like plays out and he doesn't get he gets suspended at the end of the season, that's obviously worst case scenario for most people. Okay, so we talked about getting a value at running back. We're not going to get one, so we're not looking there. Wide receiver. Ooh, give me this pick. Don't do it. I want Waddle with this pick. If we don't get, no, that would have been such a good start. All right. Waller's an option for us. I think we might end up going with him. Mahomes, no. No, I'm not going to do that. Lamar, if I had a stacking partner, I would go there. I don't think we need to go with wide receiver. We'll get a really solid one at our next pick. Yeah, let's go with Darren Waller. I really wanted Waddle there because I would have loved a Tua, Waddle, Tyreek Hill stack. That would have been really nice, getting them both at value too. We don't end up getting it. At our next pick, Deontay Johnson will be the best wide receiver if he's there. We could theoretically try out like a bully tight end build. I don't know that we need to. If we got huge value, I would, but we're probably not going to do that. Definitely not running back now that Montgomery is gone. There's definitely no one that is going by this ADP. We have McCaffrey. We don't need to do that. We could consider Mahomes. And it'd be easy to like find a stacking partner later. I don't know that I love it. So I'm hoping Deontay Johnson's there as a wide receiver. I would take over Deontay. I might take Cooks. Apparently, Cooks has been like impossible to guard in camp. Now, excuse me, it's the Houston Texans. So let's take that with a grain of salt. But I mean, with no Mechie now, him and Nico Collins, that might be the play here. All right. So, and I know for a fact I have Nico like way ahead of ADP. Of course, I'm saying that, and now someone's going to take him. But like, look at all these ADP and then look at Nico. Like, I have Nico probably 10 spots above ADP. So we'll have the opportunity to draft Nico and then Mills later on. So let's keep that in the back of our head when we're drafting the quarterback position. We're obviously not going to get Mahomes. Why don't we just exit out there? What will the next round look like? So next round we'll have like 71, 74. It's possible a quarterback falls to us. Maybe we could end up getting like Jalen Hurts. But I don't know. I don't know that. We'll just see what happens at quarterback. We're not going to end up taking a tight end. Maybe we get a running back, but like I don't really want Gibson, Jacobs, Dobbins. I'd be fine with if Dobbins fell to us. So why don't we just do this? Dobbins would be fine. Mitchell would be fine. I don't know that we want any of these running backs that late. Jalen Hurts would be fine. I don't know that I would go with another quarterback. So it's either so questions again. CMC is O-line and quarterback proof. Average like 27 dogs are going nuclear out there. Okay, I think they're responding to someone else. Josh Allen in the fourth is nice. Someone got on the fourth. Yeah, that is really nice value. Did they get a stack? Oh, I was going to say, if this team got Diggs too, that'd be sweet. Yeah, Adams, DJ Moore, Josh Allen, Dalvin Cook. Yeah, probably end up taking a wide receiver here as well. You talk about getting value based on ADP. ESPN rankings and ADP are trash. What site to use for? So basically, for the rankings on the site, this is an important question, I think. I use Underdog. But you have to use positional. You cannot refer to Underdog ADP in reference to what you think is going to happen in your redraft league. Underdog ADP is heavily influenced by draft strategy. Draft strategy for Underdog, people know you can take running backs early and a billion wide receivers middle and kind of add on running backs a little bit later. And so the overall wide receivers get moved up in ADP. Early running backs are kind of the same, but then later running backs, like there's basically a gap that opens up because everyone knows about draft value. And then people start taking like second quarterbacks earlier, so quarterback value changes. And so now running backs get even further down. So overall ADPs are a little bit messed up, so you can't use that. But then you also can't really use ESPN, Yahoo NFL, all those things, because they're trash right now. And like, if you want to draft right now, go for it. I mean, you're going to absolutely shred based off these ADPs. So what I do for the site is I just use positional. I just say, okay, I have Jerry Jeudy as the, I don't know, off the top of my head, 20 something. I don't know, I'll tell you. Half PPR rankings. I have Jerry Jeudy. If I open up wide receiver, half PPR, Jerry Jeudy is 19th, and I have a 23 next to him. 23 indicating his wide receiver ranking, or ADP, I guess, on Underdog, because within positions, you can still look at Underdog ADP and you can still see where people are being drafted, and Underdog is still the sharpest to look at right now. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do come later August. Like, I do still want to have ADP being like what people are drafting. And if most people are drafting on ESPN, Yahoo NFL, it's like I want to use a composite of everything. I just literally cannot do that right now because they're so unbelievably bad. So maybe later August, people start doing drafts. It'll be a composite ADP on the website for everything. But right now it is Underdog and it's only positional because that's how you kind of have to do it. If you want to win your league, you take CMC. If you want to play it safe and not go to the championship, take you're not taking Najee Harris over Christian McCaffrey. That doesn't even make sense. Now, I saw a take. I don't even know who said it or anything. I can't even give credit to it. But I saw a take online that was like, what you can do in the first round is, or first, second rounds, kind of in like players you want to target. We'll do that take after. All right, who's up next? Yeah, I'd be good with Devonta Smith here. Hopkins wouldn't be bad for us to grab either. Running backs, it's still those running backs I just don't want with this pick, so I'm not going to do it. Quarterbacks, I mean, I wish I had a stacking partner. Joe Burrow is not a bad pick here, but I don't have one yet, and I have like pretty bad stacking partners for like early picks right now. So Smith goes, that kind of stinks. And then we're not going tight end. So yeah, I think Hopkins would be the play here. I want to see if I can get a better value at quarterback. Play the ADP game a little bit with wide receiver. Yeah, let's do Deandre Hopkins. This team's going to be, especially like Hopkins, I know to start the season isn't going to be like that incredible, but we're going to have a really, really high weekly upside come the end of the season. Unfortunately, this is just draft with you guys, and so it's much less heavily weighted towards that. Like, you're not trying to advance and move on. So he's actually like a much worse pick in this format, but this is later than you would get him when suspended. We'll probably end up taking Kirk here. No reason to play the ADP game when you have such a long time before your next pick. I think you're totally fine going with other receivers here, but Christian Kirk, going to be used on end rounds, going to be used a bunch this season. Just like they paid the man. It's just so clearly going to use him. He's definitely going too late. Okay. I like this build so far. So again, we only have McCaffrey at running back. We've got Darren Waller, so we're only going to grab one tight end super late. Might even use the last pick. Just whoever becomes a huge value at tight end. Wide receivers, I mean, Debo, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Cooks, Hopkins, Christian Kirk. Love that. We do need to start thinking about our quarterback stack, but one thing about this team is we have the 2 option. We have Davis Mills. We have Trevor Lawrence. Like, we've got a lot of potential late round quarterbacks. And so we can afford to maybe not go with quarterback here. My issue just with like drafting like a Brady, a Wilson, a Dak is like, now I'm kind of forced to be like, okay, well, I don't have the stacking partner yet. I like have to draft KJ Hamler or like Alberto. I have to draft Jalen Tolbert. And it's like, I don't want to have to do that because then I'm just forcing myself into a pick. I'd rather that happen naturally, and it's much more likely to happen naturally with one of these later quarterbacks. So we'll bring this up. Oh, and I'll give that take. So someone was like, something we should really be considering with these early round picks is who do we think could be a top 3 pick next season? And I thought that was actually like a pretty sharp take. And it is something that gets me a little bit more on Najee Harris. Like, think about these players and be like, who next season do I think could be a top 3 pick? Najee Harris could absolutely be. He goes out there again this season, catches another like 74 receptions, has like 12 touchdowns, is just consistently producing, looks like Derrick Henry out there. Yeah, he's going to top 3 pick next season. And you start looking around and you're like, okay, well, what about, Derrick Henry? What about Dalvin Cook? It's like, yeah, they could be top 3 picks next season, but they are getting more up there in age. There's still a chance that that kind of catches up to them. Do I think Stephon Diggs is going to be a top 3 pick next season? Probably not. I think you can, that's why this top end is here, because I think absolutely Taylor, McCaffrey, Kupp, Jefferson, Jamar, yeah, they could all be top 3 picks next season. Eckler as well, if he goes out there and catches like 90 balls and another 20 touchdowns. But I just thought it was like an interesting take. Javonte Williams, a player that's good in round 2, because yeah, he could be too. What if he goes out there and he just destroys this season, has way more than Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's on the team next year. Like, yeah, he could be a top 3 pick next season. Kamara could. Honestly, theoretically, Fournette could. And I'm starting to, I don't know. I want reports. I want reports on what they're expected to do, because part of me is starting to think Fournette is a little bit of a better pick. And I want to figure that out before everyone really starts drafting. I don't know. I mean, if you look at his production when he's healthy with Tom Brady, he's a monster. So I don't know. But I want to see the reports, because I still believe in Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White's a really good talent, really good pass catcher, just a quality player that they're going to have to get on the field. I'm just not sure yet. We'll see. We'll see how that ends up working out for me. All right. We're looking, hey, 200, at least a second ago, we're back down to 245 concurrent viewers, but 245, 66 likes, up. Let's get to like 75 likes, a little bit of a higher ratio. I'm answering any question that you guys want to ask. Let's get a few likes in there. I feel like people are like arguing about McCaffrey right now in the comments section. I don't have enough time to like look at every single question in depth, but for people who are arguing, I'm just going to assume the take is that this dude gets hurt. Stop. I just think it's a bad take to say like you can't draft McCaffrey because he might get hurt. So could everyone. And you can't assume that like Najee won't get hurt. Najee walked off practice the other day with a minor injury. He's back now, but anyone can get hurt. Anyone. Okay. Okay, so Kareem Hunt and Stevenson are not bad picks here. They're in consideration. Gage, not a bad pick. I don't know that I want wide receiver here, though. I feel like I want Kareem Hunt. No, again, tight end's got to be at value for us. Quarterback. I mean, Brady, I would actually maybe take Brady here. I can get Julio. I might be able to get Gage at the next pick. Brady is probably the best pick at this spot. Are we going to be sad? This guy has taken Jalen Waddle and Brady from us at phenomenal values. That's upsetting. And now, that was big. We needed that. Okay. I'm not letting him get Gage. So if Gage is on the clock, we're taking him. I think Kareem Hunt is a good pick. Right at ADP, so we're not getting a huge value. But a player that is going to have a relatively consistent role when healthy is pretty good in fantasy. Late 8th round. Chubb goes down. You've got a stud. I know that technically hasn't happened in recent seasons, but he's been pretty unfortunate with game script and with injuries himself when Chubb has gone down. He is a phenomenal play if that happens. And who knows? Does he get traded? Does Ernest Johnson get traded? It's a little bit less likely now that it looks like Kamara's not going to get suspended, but he's a good pick. He goes a little bit too late. So again, we're not allowing this person right here to get the Brady and Gage stack that we wanted. So if Gage doesn't go, we're just going to have to get him out of like spite. Sky Moore. Interesting. Not even going to look. We're taking him. We're not allowing it to happen. I'm curious if we only look at like the last, well, I guess the Julio news has been out for a little bit, but I was going to say curious like last 3 days or something. What's the ADP? Obviously, I got Gage at a big value. He was the top wide receiver in my rankings. I'm curious to see, like, in the last 3 days, is it like 95 for the ADP? Like, I'm also curious the slope of that ADP. It's obviously going to crater, but where are we going to see him flatline? Remember, we kind of predicted the Treylon Burks flatline near like 100. Treylon Burks is also a phenomenal pick where he's going. Where did he end up going? 89. Yeah, I think that's right where I have him now. But we were saying Treylon Burks kind of flatlined at like 95, 96 for his ADP. We were pretty sure that was going to happen. We've been jumping on him since then. I think I can't pull up Underdog right now, but I think Underdog rankings have him in like the mid 80s at this point. So you guys should be getting him a lot more at this like new depressed ADP. But of course, everyone here is using the Underdog rankings. Okay, so we took Gage. We still have the option of quarterbacks later on. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still have 6 wide receivers. Again, it's pretty likely I end up with like a 2, 4, 10, 2 build because I have McCaffrey. I don't see a need to draft a bunch of running backs at that spot. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with the next round. I actually don't know what we're going to do with the next pick. What running back committees are you scared of or trying to avoid? All right, I don't know. Let's pull up. Well, I'll pull up my rankings over here so you guys can keep seeing everything going over there. San Fran is starting to scare me a little bit. So I'm cool taking Elijah Mitchell, and I want to see. I have Elijah Mitchell as a slightly overvalued pick, but like his ADP is 23, I'm at 25, so it's not like a crazy bad pick or anything. Not positive news about Tyrion Davis-Price. Apparently, Trey Sermon's having a better camp. There's another running back that I can sort by San Fran, but I don't even know if he made the top. Yeah, he didn't make it high enough. I can't remember. Oh, I'll pull up the projections. What's his name? Jordan Mason. So Jordan Mason's getting hype. I need cuts. I need cuts to happen so I can figure out what these depth charts are. But don't be shocked if Jordan Mason ends up being like a little bit of like a pass catching back there. And if that happens, then we might need to be a little bit scared of the San Fran backfield if they've got someone no one was considering before as a pass catching back. Trey Sermon now mixing in. Debo still getting work. Now it's like, is Mitchell only getting 13 to 14 carries goal line, which would be great, but like one target, like is that the role that we're looking at for Mitchell? So San Fran's scaring me a little bit in a potential committee there. Other committees, starting to pump the brakes, although in tomorrow's video, I'm going to hype up Cam Akers, but that was recorded yesterday, something like yesterday. Starting today, I have started pumping the brakes a little bit in Cam Akers. I dropped him in the rankings. Still value, well, sort of. I have him 18th. He's 19th by ADP. But now I have him as like a late third round pick. Reports coming out that him and Henderson are kind of going to split. Again, I still think Akers is better than Henderson. I think they like him more. And they've discussed how they don't trust Henderson staying healthy, so they don't want to give him a ton of workload. And it's a good enough offense to where, it shouldn't be a problem that they're splitting. But I guess that's giving me a little bit of pause right now. Washington, I don't love that situation. I really just wouldn't be drafting Gibson unless he really falls in drafts. Because if they're going to use a 3 running back committee, what's the upside really? Unless there's multiple injuries. Okay. 119. Tight ends. No. Wide receivers. Claypool's a almost 2-round ADP value. Did he get hurt recently? He remains sidelined. Shoulder injury, not considered serious. Okay. It's not great. He's going to play in the slot, though, this year. And if he gets a higher percent of the catches, I should be moving him up potentially. Not great. All right, let's look at running back. No. Quarterback? Okay. Oh, I should do Carr. Carr should be my pick. Hey, he didn't steal one of my picks this time. Yeah, Carr's a good pick. I'm getting him at nearly a round of ADP value. I get to pair him with Darren Waller. That makes a lot of sense. Beautiful. Grab Derek Carr. See, that's what I'm talking about with quarterback. Just wait. There's a lot of quarterbacks. There's a lot of players in your team. At some point, you're probably going to get a value. Irv Smith, if you guys didn't hear, he finger issue. I don't remember exactly what happened. I believe it's finger. He had surgery like today after hurting it yesterday. They think he'll be back in week 1, which means that like it'll be very early in the season, but missing camp is not good. Obviously, it's not good. So maybe a little bit of a reach for Irv there. Tolbert goes at 4-1. All right, we weren't prepared for this pick. Let's pull up everything. Ugh. I feel like we're reaching with all these picks. Because Claypool went 2. All right, let's put up Julio so we don't get auto-drafted the tight end that we don't want. God. All right. We'll take Julio. I don't know if that was a great pick. I probably should have game planned a little bit more. There was really no one that I wanted there. I don't want these quarterbacks this early. I guess maybe you could have said go with Tua. Maybe Tua should have been the pick there, but I want that weekly ceiling. Julio could have games this season. Like, I don't think consistently he's going to go off, but he could have games this season where he's got, multiple touchdown catches. Obviously, his upside is Julio Jones. I don't think there's going to be a huge drop off. I think he's being undervalued. And also that ADP is going to keep like climbing and stuff. So I think I still got him like where he should be going. But maybe I should have taken Tua. I don't know. I love getting my quarterbacks at value. And I think if I have the opportunity to wait, I could have gotten Mills as well. I can get Trevor Lawrence as well. It's just, man, is that upsetting not getting Brady at a huge discount because I was able to get Gage and Julio. So upsetting that happened. But it is what it is. Okay. I think that answered the committees that I'm kind of scared of. Love the reports on Allen Robinson, but what if OBJ signs? Okay, yep. So he's probably not going to be back until like November, and maybe even like December. And I suppose that's a problem if we're thinking about the playoffs, but they love Allen Robinson. We love Allen Robinson. We have loved Allen Robinson for a while. He's a very, very good wide receiver, a very, very underrated wide receiver. So you combine both of those things, even if they bring back Odell. Well, guess what? Van might not be healthy to start the season. So that's an issue. Tutu hasn't been, like, he's been fine in camp. Let's be honest, it's Tutu. Like, they shouldn't have made that pick. Like, they don't love him. That's just fine. And what? Odell comes back in, like, November, coming off a torn ACL. We have no idea how he's going to look. I think that if you're not going to draft Allen Robinson because maybe Odell returns and is maybe good for the final few games, no. Give me Allen Robinson. He's just such a good player. It's such a good situation. He'll be on the field all the time. Give me Allen Robinson. I want Allen Robinson on all of my teams. I think people are talking amongst themselves. Robust RB. This isn't the fantasy counselor. Yeah, no. We're definitely not the fantasy counselor. And also, I did not go Robust RB, drafting one running back in the first 7 rounds. But in redraft leagues, yeah, Robust RB is an optimal strategy, assuming that you have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and you're not doing like weird settings. OBJ's not going to do anything. Don't even trip. It's really just like the timeline. It's just so late in the season for him to return, and it's still a situation where we don't even know if he's going to be back with the Rams. I actually do kind of think he returns, but I don't care. I really just don't care. Take Allen Robinson. Also, I don't know what to tell you about the 49ers backfield. It's always been like this. I'll probably stay away. Like Davis Price was and is cheap enough, they'll take a shot. Yeah, the problem is he's like not even that cheap. So I have Davis Price now ranked 62nd among wide receivers. That would be a early 18th round pick, but he's 50th. Like, if I sort by positional ADP in the rankings, the running backs going after him, Khalil Herbert, who we know is a phenomenal handcuff, and we know can be really good when he gets a roll. Gus Edwards, pretty good running back if he can return. Jamal Williams, I mean, if he's going to still get early down, he's going to get plenty of work. Brian Robinson, Mostert, we're kind of getting into scrubs at that point. Zamir White, and these are people going like way later than that. But oh God, we have 25 seconds. What have we done? All right, we like Jameson. We like Nico. All right. Tight end. I don't think so. Running back. Robinson might not be bad. Between those two. Oh no. All right, let's do Williams to start off with, because I want a little bit of upside. Although and again, I probably made that mistake again. In this format, you don't need the later in the season production. You need the overall production. It's probably a mistake again. This is what was throwing me off. Do I just draft Justin Fields here? Who benefits my team more? Getting Justin Fields at 20 spots of value. I'll be able to stack him with Velas later. I don't know. I don't know what helps my team more. We'll take Fields. I feel like he helps my team a little bit more. I think Robinson's like a good pick at that spot as well for us, because if we're just looking at upside, if McCaffrey hits his upside, Hunt just has like a stable production, and they're using Robinson as much as we think they could. I mean, that's a really good trio of running backs, and I didn't spend much to get it. But yeah, again, just go back to it. If you guys are entering these, I do actually feel like Hopkins and Williams here probably were mistakes for me to draft, because if you're thinking about this from like the puppy from Best Mania 3, all you got to do is advance. And now you've gotten two players later than they should be going, producing way higher value. Well, that's great. I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to advance. So I'm just losing those points early in the season. Now, you can also make the argument, well, if they weren't suspended, I mean, Hopkins would be going in the top, 40, maybe the top 35. And so that's really the value. Yes, you're taking these zeros, but as long as, Debo, Tyreek, Cooks, Kirk, Gage, Julio, like as long as they provide fine production for the first month of the season, which they will, now we're getting players that are coming into our team, providing us a much better weekly ceiling at, a significant ADP cost. So we really just need these spiked weeks from Tyreek and Debo to start things off. Okay. So just thinking about our draft now, we're down at quarterback. I think we did great grabbing two players that fell. We're going to need to draft Velas probably later in the draft. So let's remember to do that. We only have two running backs. We're going to want more. We're kind of getting to that danger zone where now we're probably going to have to draft 5 because the running backs at this point are simply not good. But I think that is fine because where are we here? We've got 8 wide receivers. I think it's perfectly fine for us to not draft our 10 that we were going with, especially because we feel very confident with like our first 3. They're going to really produce for us. I don't think we need 10. So the final rounds will be, we'll have a 14th round pick, right? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 5 picks left. One of them is going to be a tight end. One of them is going to be velocity. We can get that. One of them is going to be a wide receiver. 6 picks left. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 5 picks left. Tight end. Wide receiver. Okay. I don't know. I just put 2 fingers down one time, I think. Yeah. A tight end, a wide receiver, which is Velas. Oh, I probably counted that twice. 3 running backs. And the running backs that we want here, I think it can be a mixture of high upside plays with floor plays. I don't know that I want to go all floor plays because if Kareem Hunt doesn't hit his ceiling, I have McCaffrey and floor running backs, but I think I want a little bit more upside. So I think I want at least one of them to be like an upside handcuff, but we'll see. Good grief. We got a spam in here. I didn't see. Oh, God. How do I even... All right, there we go. We're removing the weird comments here. I think I may have accidentally removed... Oh, no, okay, we're good. Remove. Wonderful. Are there any other questions? Oh my God, there's more of them. Have you been considering continue? Like, I think I'm just going to re-up that league. Maybe I'll do, if I do a subscriber league, it's obviously just going to be people who got all in. Like that's a lock to happen. I don't want to do too many leagues because then I'm not active in the leagues, but maybe, yes. It'll be definitely for people who got all in on the website though. There's no chance it's just people on like YouTube getting into that. Okay. Wide receivers thin, but we don't want wide receivers anymore. So yeah, Brian Robinson would be good. McKissick's like a floor play. Jamal, Michael Carter, who got hurt. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's a big injury. Michael Carter would probably be the best pick for us, even though you guys know I think Breece Hall is like a stud, clearly the lead back. Whenever you get someone at like 20 spots of ADP value, sometimes just like don't outsmart yourself. If thousands and thousands of other people collectively agree that someone's at 147 on a very sharp format where people are paying to draft, and you can get them at 167, you should probably just do it. You know, like even if you're not in love with that player, if you can consistently and not consistently get players who are falling because they're injured. I don't think Carter's falling because he's injured. We're over a month away from the start of the season on a minor ankle injury. I wouldn't consider that a problem. There goes Michael Carter. This man is the absolute worst. But yeah, that was a good pick. But okay, so we won't get him. We don't need to take Velus yet. We don't need to go a tight end, but I'll consider it our next one. I'm probably just going to end up taking Brian Robinson at this pick. Fant would not be a bad pick here, though. Actually, I am going to take Fant. Yeah. Yeah, I think I wanted Fant there because he was kind of like the last high upside. Actually, that probably wasn't the best. We'll see in a little bit. Okay. Do we think Brian Robinson will fall to us at the next pick? I think we chance it. I don't like Brian Robinson or McKissick like enough to be like, gotta take him now and make sure we can't get him later. Because again, Jamal, like, I feel like we've been on Jamal before, and he's just a person that like doesn't have a huge ceiling while Swift's there. But what if Swift gets hurt? Jamal going to be a really good running back. They don't have anyone else that's really challenging him. He's pretty clearly the backup. But they've actively talked about saying like, hey, we're not going to feature Swift, a ton because like we don't want him to break down. He's a very important player in the offense. And so Jamal's going to get work. Find myself defaulting to this if I don't take tight end early. Yeah, no, I've definitely done that. That's a very good build. If you don't take tight end early, you should probably go the wide receiver. If we take that third tight end, we will still draft 5 running backs at this spot. Fastest for experienced owners, slows for newbies. So here's my take on fast versus slow drafts. Fast drafts, you can get much better values. It is much less likely when you're doing a slow draft that someone just craters, because when you're doing a fast draft, people like might not be paying attention fully. They're on the clock, they're looking quickly, they don't notice something, and someone can like slip really far. In a slow draft, people wake up like, oh, I got 5 hours. They kind of scroll through things, they take their time, and they notice value. So fast drafts, you can get a lot better teams sometimes. I prefer slow drafts because I literally will just go in to, is this still on lobby? Because we're going to draft I'll go for a walk. Oh, look, I'm on the draft in 3 puppy drafts. Like, I just enjoy having that. And just kind of thinking about drafts kind of throughout the day. It obviously helps with like the content that I'm creating. For me to sit here, I don't have time to do a fast draft when I'm not recording it. Like, do you think I'm just sitting here with 45 minutes on my hands, like able to actually do that? Like, I don't have time to do that. So I think if you want to do a bunch of drafts, but you don't have time to sit there for 45, 50 minutes, enter a few slow ones and do it throughout the day. That's what I think. And also, I think, side note, if you're traveling, as long as you get into the draft, you can finish it. So if you are going out of the country, if you are going to like Washington, like I did, I don't know about Mass. I don't remember if you can do it there. But if you're traveling to a place that doesn't allow you to play, if you join a bunch in a state that you are allowed to play, then you leave, you can finish off the draft because you got into it. You already paid the money for it. Little side note there. Anyways. Should I be reluctant to take many guys like Hollywood and Amon St. Brown who will fall off in the playoffs? Well, I think what you're getting at there, I'll pull this up so you guys can see what happened. I think what you're getting at there is that you think Jameson Williams joining the team, Hopkins joining the team is going to decrease their production later in the season. And if you're playing on a puppy or Best Ball Mania 3, or honestly, you're just drafting in a normal redraft league, and that happens, you're almost overpaying for these players because you're getting them to start the season when those are like the least valuable weeks, and then end the year, they're not as good. But I would counter that by saying Amon St. Brown is still going to be really good later in the season. We still don't know his true ceiling. It might be really, really high. So I don't, and I think that's factored in that like everyone knows that Williams is coming back at some point. If Williams wasn't coming back at some point, he'd be going earlier. So I think it's kind of factored into ADP. Same kind of with like Marquise Brown. Like, do you think that if Hopkins was never coming back, Marquise Brown wouldn't be like a 3rd round pick? Like, of course he would be. So I think it's factored in. No, I don't think it's a bad thing to do. And you still open up the possibility that these players are just performing so well that they're still part of the game plan heavily when these other players return. And especially Marquise Brown's a great start to the season. Now, having said that, I don't think Marquise Brown is some like amazing pick you have to get. I do think, or did I just combine 2 players? I don't think that Marquise Brown is an incredible pick. I think he's a good pick. I think he's an incredible pick or anything. Okay, so we're almost on the clock. Again, at the very least, we're taking 2 more running backs. It'll depend if we take a tight end or we take a wide receiver at like the end there, because we've got 16, 17, 18. At 18, we'll have a later one. So we're going to have 2 picks here. I do want Zamir White. I feel like Zamir White might be a better pick. I'm not 100% sure on that one. What we are going to do here, though, I didn't want to talk about it, so we're going to get sniped again. We're going to take, what? Oh, the rib injury. Huh. Oh, I have 7 seconds? Wonderful. I still think I'm going to do it. So I am starting to hop on board with the people who are saying that, like, Taysom Hill late is not a bad pick to make. If he plays 2 games at quarterback, he shreds this ADP because he's giving you that production that's just like phenomenal. He's going to have random weeks where he spikes in production. We'll take McKissick here. He's going to have random weeks where he throws a long touchdown, catches a long touchdown, runs for, a touchdown. And at tight end, you just want those spikes. Like, I don't care if a tight end isn't giving me 5 for 50 every week. It's only, 7.5 points in this format. I want someone who's randomly going to get me 12 or 13, to randomly get me like 17 points. And I feel like Taysom Hill fits that. He goes late enough. Now, obviously, I don't love that he just got injured. I didn't even see that anywhere. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the rationale for taking him late. So our team, I think, has a lot of upside at tight end. Quarterback's probably our weakest position, but I got them at such good values that I'm honestly fine with it. I don't have a stacking partner with Fields. That's the one issue. I don't know that I feel strongly enough about these running backs. I can do it because it's 14, 6, 9, and 13. So at no point will I not have like 3 of them unless someone gets hurt, which could still happen. I'd still, I think, prefer to take a running back. But it would be a running back or velocity. I guess it depends on what the running backs are. So what's the news here? Everyone's getting hurt. My goodness. Good grief. There's no one that I really want. So that would probably be it. I don't know. It'd be something like that. I would take these running backs in order, have them on the screen. If they're gone, instead of just like trying to guess as to which running back might get me a few points, maybe, I'll just take the stack. I'll assume that 100% of weeks I'm starting a wide receiver in the flex. I only need 2 running back spots. I would feel fine with it just because it's McCaffrey. I'd have that rock. And let's be honest, McCaffrey gets hurt. I'm not winning this league anyway. So I think that's kind of the order I'd do it in. Yeah, that's kind of the take there. How can we use the rankings for our hometown leagues and be able to cross players off as we draft? If you mean physically, print it. There's like a PDF button. You could do that, or you could just use like, those, if you're on Google Chrome, those 3 dots on your screen, like just print the page and cross people off yourself. If you're talking about you're able to use a computer, there is a tab for that. If you go to, I don't know what it's called. It's called Conditionally Formatted Rankings Template. Go there, download that template, and then whatever league you're in, right before you leave, click copy, paste it into the template, do exactly what it says on the screen, and you will be able to click a checkbox, and that will cross the name off and make it red for everyone that gets drafted. So it depends what you want to do. If you want to bring a tablet, you want to bring a computer to the draft, and you want to cross people off that way, that's one way to do it. If you're a pen and paper kind of person, which honestly I am, like I'll admit it, like in my draft that I do in person, I print off my rankings and go there, and I literally cross people off, and on the back of the sheet, I hand write in my team. All right, so I'm old-fashioned in doing it that way. You absolutely can, especially, it's not that hard to just cross names off, and when you get up there, or at least ours is like a big screen, so there's one computer everyone drafts from and a big screen we look at. Even if you miss players, you go up there, you're like, oh, this person actually isn't there, I missed the cross off. It's not the end of the world. Let's take the next person. It's not that hard. Do I have any recommendations on how to create your own rankings? I guess. I mean, you can sign up for multiple sites and use projections there. You can create a composite projection, so you can download my exact projections for every player, match that in with other people's projections, adjust those projections yourself. Then you have to come up with a value grade. That's the value column that I see. I'm not going to tell you how my value grade is calculated, but it's math based. But you basically just need to be like, how valuable is this player? Create a metric to weight that, and then sort by that metric that you create. And if it's your rankings, that means you're creating this metric. So Les is gone, so we're just going to take the top running back. Easy one for us there. He did an auction draft for the first time, and it was really interesting. So much additional game theory. Auction drafts are fun. I think everyone should join one. Not necessarily every season, but everyone should join one and just like see what it's all about, kind of like play around with it. Because some of you will definitely prefer an auction draft to like a normal format. Do we want Mostert here? He's fully healthy. Could have some spike tweaks. There we go. I like the team. If we're being honest, let's view this draft, and then we'll make our picks in the other one. I think this team came out really well, and then I'll answer that question in a second. Running backs, McCaffrey, Kareem Hunt, Jamal, JD, Raheem Mostert. I think that's perfectly fine. Great wide receiver core. Debo, Tyreek Hill, Cooks, Hopkins, Kirk, Gage, Julio, Jameson Williams. I got value at both the quarterbacks, Derek Carr and Justin Fields, and then we got Waller, Fant, and Taysom Hill. So I like the team. You guys can look at the other teams. But yeah, so I think everyone should try out an auction draft. You can do different builds. So like, under no circumstance are you getting Jonathan Taylor and McCaffrey. But what if you just want to test it out? What if you're just like, hey, I want a team that has that. I want to see if I can win that way. Do it. Go in there, spend all the money. You're going to have like $40 left. But then be like, okay, who is a quarterback, tight end, and like 3 or 4 bench options I can get for $1? And know that going into the draft, write like 20 of them down and get them. Get a bunch of value, $1 kicker, $1 defense, and just see what you can do. You can just build such unique lineups. You could avoid, I wouldn't recommend this. Some people are like, oh, let's just draft 1 billion mid-round picks. Well, the bust rate of mid-round picks is much higher. The ceiling is much lower on average. I know we had a lot of mid-round picks go off last season, but in general, early round picks are not only the highest rate of really high-end performances, but the highest success rate. So you still want to be drafting high-end players. But honestly, I would use it to just get like unique builds that you wouldn't be able to get. Get 2 first-rounders, get 3 second-rounders. Like try and do something like that, because especially in auction leagues, you can get players really late that are going for like $1, $2, $3 that should be going for way more. And I have on the site the auction table. You can kind of look at that there. Oh, that was a question. Okay. Where would you draft Hopkins? Well, I did draft Hopkins in this draft. And so I drafted him in the 6th round. So late 6th round. There you go. Robert Tunnu was a tight end 2 years ago. I think largely because he had a ton of touchdowns. Yep. Any chance he repeats that this year with Adams? Absolutely. If he is healthy, He could have a very spike season touchdowns. And what if Christian Watson is just like, slow to recover from the surgery he just had, doesn't develop chemistry? Romeo Doubs is a name we should be keeping in mind. But what if, Rodgers gets to the red zone when Tunyon's back, and every time he's just like, I don't trust these people. And maybe he trusts Allen Lazard, but Allen Lazard's not like a red zone threat. Yeah, Tunyon could have like 12 touchdowns across 12 games. Certainly. I don't think he's like a phenomenal pick or anything, but yeah, I agree with you. Let's make my picks. Let's go away from here. I'm on the draft in 4 leagues. Let's go. All right. So let's do the boring ones first, the non-puppy drafts. And let's see the thought process that goes on here. So here's a team. Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson. Oh, wait, this was a team I really liked, wasn't it? No, what was it? It was. Okay, so in this team, I did not draft a running back until round 8. It was a very unique build. I started off Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen, Cortland Sutton, Darnell Mooney. Then I grabbed Burrow and Wilson, stacking with Jamar Chase and Cortland Sutton. Then I went to running back. I grabbed Hunt. I grabbed James Cook, Isaiah Spiller, and I went back with what's his name? Tyler Boyd, with Jamar Chase having that Joe Burrow stack. So I really, really like this team. I wish it was in one of the puppies. Running back options. We're at 140 by ADP. We could go with Hines. We could go with Henderson. Go with Madison. We already have a tight end, so if there's a huge value, we take it. We're not going to take that there. I think we can wait. Now, this is with subscribers, so I think someone's going to take Nico and like Paris Campbell and stuff, but I think we can wait on that. And we already have quarterbacks. We're not going to go there. So I think the pick here is just to go with Hines, especially waiting so long, getting some running backs that I feel good about. Oh, but do I go with Henderson? Because I don't have upside yet. Hunt has upside, but Cook and Spiller are more floor plays. Let's go with Henderson. I think Henderson actually makes a little bit more sense with that build. All right. Beautiful. Go back in. Let's do the other non-tournament draft. The team in this one. I feel like I've been showing you guys a lot of non-running back builds early on. We took Najee Harris at 7. Debo, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks. Love it. Our options. Wide receiver. Amari very clearly by ADP is the top option. We don't have tight end yet. I don't want to take any of them. Running back. No, I don't like this range for running back. We're not going to go there. Quarterback. Hurts is a possibility. We don't have any potential stacks. I was kind of hoping that would jump out to us. I'm in the middle, so I don't pick again for a little bit. I kind of want to take Cooper because I want to make this just like a dominant wide receiver core. I feel like it's such a strong wide receiver core. I want to continue that. I don't have the stacking partner with Hurts. I'll have to force something after that. Let's say Cooper. And also, I don't think the ankle injury he had, I don't think that's anything major. All right, now the fun ones. We're in the puppies. So let's see how these ones work out. And then I'll answer all your questions. Right now is just the time to just fire away. You got any questions, throw them in there. I'll do this. I'll answer the rest of the questions, and then we'll hop on out of here. Only round 3. Najee at 10, CeeDee Lamb at 15. That's a good start. Quarterback. Josh Allen. We can go with. Running back, no. I'm not going to be reaching for any of these running backs. Wide receiver. It's not a good spot to take these backs. Waller, not a good spot. So when this happens, I think you just go with Josh Allen. You're getting a slight discount on him. It's not a huge discount, but there'll be opportunities. I can draft Gabriel Davis. I can draft Dawson Knox, Khalil Shakir, Isaiah McKenzie, Crowder. If that all doesn't work out, I'll be able to find someone, and I just don't think anyone else was a good enough value. I'll hope, honestly, Allen Robinson, Cortland Sutton, maybe one of the wide receivers, maybe like Waddle at the next pick. Maybe we go with running back, but at this one, I'd rather just take the very clear top quarterback. So we got Josh Allen, Najee Harris, CeeDee Lamb. Beautiful. Okay. And the final one. There's only a few more seconds to get in those questions. We are at pick 4. I've shown you like 16 Najee Harris builds. I think maybe it's because I joined these in the last like 2 days, and that's when Najee had that like injury. And I think maybe just no one wanted him, but I got him like 11 in this one, 10 in the other one, 7 in the other one. Like I don't know. People just don't want him. It's weird. What did people take instead? Eckler, Diggs, Henry, Cook, and Mixon. Yeah. Okay. So our team. Travis Kelce 2 out of value. So we got Najee Harris, Courtland Sutton, and Travis Kelce. Let's walk on through. Tight end would need to be a huge value. There isn't one. We won't be drafting it. Quarterback, I'd want to stack with Mahomes, but I'm not picking Mahomes at 38. So no quarterbacks. Running back. Yeah, Hall, Zeke, Cam Akers are kind of options for us. Connor's falling a little bit, although I don't know that we need to play the ADP game because it's going to be a while. Our next pick is at 59. Jeez, so yeah, these running backs are going to be gone, so we'll just take the top running back. That would be Breece Hall, so we'll just keep him there. Only other consideration is our top wide receiver, which would be Allen Robinson. So do we go with Allen Robinson or do we go with Breece Hall? Huh. The next pick was 50-something. We'll probably still get a good wide receiver. What was Rankings? Rankings has Robinson. I don't know. Whatever you guys say to do. I'll keep this one on the board. If you guys want me to go with Hall or Allen Robinson, first, I don't know. I'll take the first 5 votes. First 5 votes from different people. Whichever one gets 3 first between Breece Hall and Allen Robinson, that is the one that I will draft. And now we will answer questions. Danny Gray going off in practice. Yeah, that's fine. I built my own Excel spreadsheet with Nick's rankings that let me check them off if they're taken through or drafted. Then I put in the draft position for the players. Yeah, you can build your own, but again, go to the website. I built it for you, and it has conditional formatting. So all you guys have to do is use that. I built it for you, so you don't need to build your own. Why even bother making your own? There's so many great projection rankings out there. Yeah, I feel like you don't need to make your own. Now, if you wanted to make your own, I guess the one thing would be if you're in a weird format. So I have a bunch of different formats on the site, but if you're in a point per carry league, maybe one that has a point per pass attempt, because my projections give you every single stat, you can then go in and you can build your own projections based off of your strange format. So that would be, I guess, one situation, but you'd still have to create value. And so, yeah, I would just use someone else's if you can. Well, mine, I would say, but what would your strategy be for a tiered PPR league? 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 1 super flex. How important is it to grab a good tight end? So in the format you just subscribed, not important. You can start 2 quarterbacks because you have that super flex spot, 3 wide receivers. So your starting lineup has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 spots, 1 of which is tight end. Compare that to a normal setup, which has quarterback, running back, wide receiver, flex. 6 spots. So which do you think? In a league that has 6 spots and a tight end, or 9 spots in a tight end, which has more value placed on tight end? The one with 6. You don't need a good tight end. The one with 9, it makes up a much smaller percent of your starting lineup. You want to heavily focus on wide receiver and quarterback. So it becomes less important in that format. Nick, would you take Mike Evans over Saquon? Assuming I take CMC in the first round. So you have CMC. Would you take Saquon or Evans. Personally, Saquon. I just think it unlocks a ceiling. Having Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, two players who could score 25 fantasy points per game, could drop 35. Like, I would rather just have that because you unlock a ceiling where it's like if that works out, you win. We need to get a little bit higher than that. What did people say? People didn't even vote that much. Oh, I went. Oh, you did vote. Wonderful. Hall, A-Rob, and Zeke. All right, we'll take Hall. I haven't gotten. We're not going to get him in the next round. We'll uncheck him. All right, I think that makes sense. Good running back. Now we've got too early. We can focus. We'll focus on wide receiver now. The drop off, yeah, I kind of agree. So we were probably not going to get Zeke, Akers, or Montgomery, and then or Connor, and we were going to look in this range and be like, oh, I don't want him, and now we have Najee and like no one else. Whereas we're probably still going to get like a solid wide receiver the next pick. So you guys are probably right. Robinson is the new Robert Woods. Robinson's the new Robinson. I wouldn't pigeonhole him into Robert Woods. He's a better wide receiver than Robert Woods. I've honestly, at this point, like, I've been considering Justin Jefferson over Cooper Kupp because I almost want to take more production from Cooper Kupp and give it to Allen Robinson. Now, I'm not going to. I still think Cooper Kupp should be the top guy, but boy, these two good. Now, weird like elbow discomfort for Stafford right now that we'll obviously need to monitor. If he has discomfort, then we should like, be decreasing the projection in the offense. But assuming he's okay, like I still love this offense, just like we loved it last year. Got a super chat, and I don't fully understand the question. So if Rockout could like clarify in a normal chat, thoughts on 14-man league. Like, I need more, like, just general thoughts, how it's different. I mean, one thing I would say, I have 14-team rankings, so just look at those for how things differ. Different, like, positions, I guess. What's the format? I feel like there's so many questions that I have for you, just like general thoughts on that. I suggest everyone tries to play in one. I played in a 14-team last year, a 16-team last year as well. You'll probably do well in them because there are players late that can produce for you that other people will not know, especially even more like a casual league. The value of the upper end can be there. If you've got a Kelsey and Andrews, things like that, you're going to be going up against some like really bad tight ends some weeks. So their value does kind of go up. I would say wide receiver is probably the position that goes up the least in value, just like off the top of my head, because there are so many of them and the drop off is much more like steady. So if you're taking these elite guys being like, oh, there's more teams, I'm going to have a much bigger edge. The edge actually isn't really there. Even in 14 teams, everyone can kind of field decent wide receivers. It's like running back starts to fall off, especially if there's injuries. Tight end really falls off because now people are starting like the 17th best tight end. People are drafting 1 billion of them. There's none on free agency. So I would say tight end can become pretty important. Running back can become pretty important. So maybe lean a little bit more towards those. Wide receiver, it's like there's just so many of them and so many great values that I'd maybe start shying away a little bit more than a normal league. So that'd be my take there. Opinion on the team, on my team in the draft we just did. Yeah, okay. I'll have to find it. We just did it, so it's a completed draft. It is this. Is it the beginning? Or no, so it won't be. So it'll be here. Okay, there it is. So your team, Bryant. Well, I don't know which team you are. So if you could specify which team you are, that would be good. PPR, do you have to reach more in 14 versus 12? It's not about reaching because ADPs are still gonna like, all right. ADPs are still gonna like be there, right? Like you don't. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean you need to reach. Basically, short. It just means positionally, maybe lean a little bit towards running back and tight end. Okay, slap nuts here. How do we like the team? Quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones. I like that. Wide receivers, Diggs, like it. Mooney, Tony, Burks, Galladay. All right, so we've got a Tony, Galladay, and Daniel Jones stack like that. Joshua Palmer, good. Bourne, David Bell, Nick Westbrook. I don't know that Nick Westbrook's a great pick. I think that's fine value. I know I was trashing on Davis Price, but that's a fine value for him. I like the team. What is the total setup for running back? So you got Connor at a slight discount. I think that's fine for James Conner. Connor, Etienne, James. Okay, I think so the two picks I don't like, Ronald Jones and Nick Westbrook. I just don't think the talent is there with Westbrook, and I think that like Burks, good player, Woods, good player, not gonna throw the ball a ton. I just don't think you need to go to Westbrook. I don't see like the ceiling really being there. And then Ronald Jones I think goes too early because like whatever that kid's name is, did someone draft him and maybe that can help me out? No one did. I'll pull up the projections for Kansas City. Is it even Isaiah? Isa? I don't know how to say his name. Isa Pacheco is getting hype. McKinnon's getting a little bit of hype. Ronald Jones isn't getting much hype. Maybe that changes in like the preseason and stuff, but like I'm not even convinced that Ronald Jones is the backup right now. We'll see what happens with cuts and everything, but I kind of tanked him in the rankings because I have no confidence in Ronald Jones. I feel like I never have confidence in him. Oh, the spammers. They be back. The Jags came out and they said that Robinson is their number one. So, I mean, they released a depth chart, like technically. Oh, wait, can I? Okay. They released the depth chart for the Jaguars. Yeah, I think he's the early down back, but that's it. No, the rankings got adjusted when he was basically not going to go on the pup. I gave more of the early down work to Robinson. Remember that he still has not joined the team in like 7-on-7, 11-on-11. We haven't seen how he looks explosiveness-wise. He's only doing these other drills. When that happens, we'll get a much better idea. But like, if Etienne was a feature back, he'd go top 5. Like, I don't think Etienne's getting featured. I don't want him to get featured. He's probably going to get hurt if he gets featured. So I'm good with Robinson taking early down, taking some goal line away, if it means Etienne's going to be on the field for plenty of passing downs, still mix in for running downs, but be healthier. That's what we really want with him. So, no, I'm not changing the rankings because that's just kind of how they're going to play it out. He's like the early down back, yeah, but Etienne's still going to get work on early downs. He's going to have a ton of pass catching downs. They're going to use them in very creative ways. I do believe they're going to have plays where they use like 2 running backs, having Etienne out wide. But no, I'm not overly concerned about that. Should you draft to trade? No. You shouldn't ever be drafting running backs with like an idea to definitely be trading them. It's just not a good thing to do. What'll end up happening is you're going to have too many of a position. You're going to be like, oh, well, I'll just trade them away. But then no one's going to trade you for them. And so you're going to be like, oh, I guess I have to just like get rid of them at like a lower end value. And then it just doesn't end up working. Don't go too heavy at a position or draft a player specifically knowing you're not going to use him. Just draft normal, draft really good players. If you happen to get great value, maybe you can end up trading it, but don't draft someone specifically to trade them. We are having a problem here with these bots. You can hide these users from the channel, but they still be finding a way to make more accounts. You're playing in a Survivor Guillotine League this year. How does drafting differ from a standard league setup? Is Guillotine the one? Explain Guillotine one to me. There's one format that drafts like different sports. So they'll draft like baseball, basketball, that stuff. Is that Guillotine? Or is it like you can only use players for specific weeks and you can't use them anymore? Clarify that one for me. Best strategy for 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. You like running back in the flex spot or just massive wide receiver? I usually go with wide receiver. I usually just hammer wide receiver because it's the most predictable. A lot of times you can get really good value for them. And if I can just get a billion of them in the middle rounds, know I'm starting more of them, I'd rather just do that. I don't want to try and figure out all these running backs. Lowest points each week gets eliminated for football. Oh, that's tough. You probably want to lean a little bit away from super high upside. So you probably don't want a team of like super high variance players because like you're going to have a ton of weeks where you're like first in points. But then if you have one bad week and these upside players, you're toast. So maybe try and avoid players who are super up and down. But in general, I wouldn't say it's that different. Just build a really, really strong team. Is Hammer going to bump for you? Yeah, I said that to start the video. Small. I think they bring someone in that's a free agent. Could it be Fuller? Could it be Emmanuel Sanders? Could it be... I think it's going to be someone they want on the outside. I don't think it's going to be like a Beasley of the world because like I think they want to have... I think they have that slot kind of figured out. They need another like outside wide receiver. That's what Sutton was. That's why he was so valuable to the team. But I basically gave everyone small boosts, but gave it to like backups so that when they bring this new wide receiver in, I can give that production back to them. So a slight bump for Hamler, but nothing like crazy. Although I thought it was a good pick before. Any strategy differences between best ball versus the puppy 3? If you're saying between like this, like drafting amongst you guys and puppy 3, versus like Best Ball Mania, there's no difference between Puppy 3 and Best Ball Mania. You're drafting for upside, you're drafting to win, no differences. For these, you don't need like a crazy build. You don't need to have these like insane stacks. You don't need like week 17 correlation. You're just building a good team overall. So, but no difference between Best Ball Mania 3 and the Puppy. Maybe the one thing you could say is Best Ball Mania 3 has so many more people and so much more money up top that you really need to push just like a super unique build, but you should be unique in both formats. Fuller to the Browns seems possible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've denied it. It does seem possible, but Fuller to the Cowboys seems possible. The Broncos seems possible. Basically, he is just waiting. Who is going to give him the best roster or the best who's the best roster to join? Because who's desperate? And it's honestly a good strategy for him. Stay healthy in the meantime. See how many wide receivers have high ankle sprains and tear their ACLs. And be like, all right, who wants me the most? And then there'll be a bidding war for Fuller, and it'll go to someone. So smart for him to be doing that. 3 wide receiver PPR league was passing on Diggs for Mixon, Swift, Smart. Let me pull up the 3 wide receiver PPR rankings. I'm going to think it's going to say no. It's going to say you should have drafted Diggs. So much value in drafting wide receivers early in a 3 wide receiver league. Yeah, I should have drafted Diggs. I have Diggs much earlier than them in a 3 wide receiver league. Rumors are the Steelers are going to trade Deontay to the Cowboys. Oh my goodness. I haven't seen that rumor. That would be weird because the Steelers are still trying to win. And for them to have like this mediocre quarterback play, get rid of Deontay. So now they're relying on only George Pickens, who I think is a great pick right now. George Pickens and Claypool. And then what is it? Calvin Austin, who's like 4'3" and like 45 pounds. Ooh, that would be a gross offense. I would decrease the plays run on that team. I would decrease their overall production. It would be bad for like ancillary players if that ends up happening. But it would be really cool for the Cowboys. He's potentially holding out. Well, it's just like the contract situation. Like, I don't know why they don't feel like paying him. If they really think they're going to draft this new quarterback, they have a rookie running back they want to use? Like, what is the point of not paying Deontay? Is it really that you think that George Pickens is going to be so good and like your other options are going to be so good that like you don't want to pay him? Like, it's a wide receiver league. You're going to have to pay wide receivers if you want to use them. I don't know. It'd be weird for them to not pay him. Keeping Kupp in round 5. You have pick 6, full PPR, Dalvin or Jefferson. Still Jefferson. Because again, it's a unique build. Don't you want to go into every week with Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson? I think Jefferson could have his goal of 2,000 yards this season, and Cooper Kupp's awesome. I wouldn't be taking downgrades just because of that. Yeah, I guess the Steelers aren't trying to win, but they had Big Ben. Like they're just not an organization that really tanks, in my opinion. Like, I think they're going to still go out there and probably be solid. And if they lose Deontay, now that's like what? You're not going to be terrible. You're not going to have a top 5, maybe not even a top 10 pick in the draft. I mean, they're going to be fine. And so what's the point of not paying your receiver, being fine, getting a mediocre like mid-round pick? It just doesn't make sense. If you're going to tank. But getting rid of Deontay, hurting your wide receiver core for the future, wasting these years of Najee Harris. What, you're just waiting for the year that you have to pay Najee Harris? And then what, you're going to let him walk? And like, when are you going to be good, I guess? Like, when does that happen? Because if you're getting rid of Deontay, like when, I don't know. I just don't understand the timeline there. Unless he's asking for like $1 billion, but like, he's really good. He should be getting a lot of money. All right. I think that was good enough. We've done our hour and a half here. Tomorrow is, those the bounce back candidates. So we're talking about like McCaffrey, Saquon, Akers, Dobbins, Zeke, and someone else who I don't remember. But there's another running back. We'll talk about 6 running backs. Just basically if I think they're going to, perform well in their ADP or not, bounce back from last season. Next day is going to be mid-round quarterbacks. We're going to do a ranking for those. And then Friday's ETR and FFA fade list. Let's get a final like on this video for those of you who are still there. If you're still there at this point, you at least somewhat like the content. And if you're new here, for some reason, I doubt anyone here is new, hit the subscribe button. We're having videos every day, going live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That, my friends, is the end of this one. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week.